You are listening to Resilient Life, the podcast where we explore the power of resiliency. I'm Nikita Ross. It is my hope that listening to this podcast will give you the tools to connect with and increase your resiliency. So join me on this adventure of self-discovery and self-love. I started the podcast because I wanted people to hear relatable stories about how resilience manifests in our lives every day. Even if we don't recognize that it's manifesting, even if we don't realize we're resilient, we are. We can sometimes get caught up in thinking that we must be famous or wealthy to celebrate ourselves. We don't have to live a life that society deems extraordinary in order to be proud of ourselves. Resilience is near and dear to my heart because I needed it growing up. As a child, I was abused and neglected. I spent the majority of my adolescence being bounced from foster home to foster home. I felt alone and worthless, and I was utterly lost. I ended up being homeless with my 6-month-old daughter. I learned about the concept or construct of resilience in undergrad during one of my child development classes. And I was asking my professor, how is it that two siblings can grow up in the same household and have very different experiences and just be completely different in how they engage and interact with the world and in their worldview? And my professor at the time stated that one is more resilient than the other. And that just blew my mind. That started me on this 15-year plus, I don't want to call it obsession, but highly focused on resilience. And once I learned about that, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to figure out how resilient I was, as well as how do I become more resilient. And the first things I did was I started therapy to start trying to just figure me out. And once I put my efforts into overcoming my traumas, my world just completely changed. I started researching resiliency, and my university funded my research project, fully funded. I was so excited and so proud of that. I got to present it in front of a big audience. It was just amazing. Once I finished that program, my undergrad, I then went on to work as a social worker, and I work with youth, trying to help them learn to increase their resiliency. And that was interesting because I still had some things to learn. I didn't feel like I had the proper training from that job to fully help them the way I wanted to. And so what I did was I just collected information from them for the years that I was a social worker and said, hey, you are about to what we call age out of the foster care system, which means you'll be 18. What services or supports do you feel like you need? What are the things you need that you aren't getting, your friends haven't gotten? And I started a nonprofit with the information that I gathered from the kids that I was working with. And of course, the nonprofit focuses on increasing their resiliency. And the population, which was dear to my heart, was kids in foster care. And the reason why that population was so near and dear to my heart is because I was a kid in foster care. I didn't have what I needed when I aged out. I experienced homelessness. I experienced low self-esteem. I was a young parent. I was impoverished. All of these things. And so this population was just near and dear to my heart. And so I opened this nonprofit after studying resiliency, after utilizing my own skills that I had developed, after asking them what they needed. And I did that working with youth successfully, increasing their resiliency, helping them prepare to transition from foster care to adult life for more than 10 years. And it has been such an incredible journey. It has been just a full range of emotions, from sadness because you hear stories that are very traumatic to hear is a thing called secondhand trauma. So, but also joyous of being able to walk alongside people as they start to believe in themselves more, start to increase their self-efficacy, start to just make different decisions, start to have more self-love, start to discover who they are. It's just thrilling and awe-inspiring to walk alongside individuals as they do that. And so after Resilient Me, which is the nonprofit, while I was doing that, I also did some consulting work with adults and helping them increase their resiliency. And that was, I thought it would be drastically different than working with young adults and teenagers, but it wasn't. It was so similar. And it helped me realize that there are things that are core to being human beings. There are experiences that are core to just being human, and it transcends time, age, ethnicity, LGBTQ plus, and all the things that follow that I may be forgetting, and I apologize. Religion, there are things that are just human, innate humanness, and that is like the main thing that I love about increasing my resilience and walking alongside people as they increase their resilience, because it doesn't discriminate. If you're human, there are times where you have experienced difficulties and traumas, and resilience has either helped you get through it or can help you get through it if we aren't stuck. And sometimes we get stuck for a while, and that is totally okay. No judgment. Each of us is on our own timeline. And so when we're ready to be unstuck, resilience will help us get to that next phase. And so I have been studying, researching, teaching, and walking alongside people as they increase their resiliency for more than 15 years. I feel like if you look up the word resilience in the dictionary, my picture pops up. I know it doesn't, because there are so many people who have faced so many things who are just as resilient, not a competition, but have exhibited as much resilience as I have, or even more. So I know my picture doesn't pop up, but I feel so connected to this word. I embody this word so much. To me, being resilient means that despite the fact that we've had trauma, we've had, to quote the Bible, trials and tribulations, we've had difficult times, it did not completely break us. I think a misconception about being resilient is that it means that you're always happy or bubbly, or you never, or the hard times don't impact you at all. And that is not it. That is not it. You can ask any person who is a researcher by trade, or a professor by trade, or a PhD by trade, and they will tell you that is not it. That is not resilience. Resilience does not mean that you're happy all the time, or that things that happen to you had zero impact, because we're not robots, we're human. To me, what being resilient means is these things happened. I may have been even knocked down temporarily, but I don't stay there. And when I get up and I grow. And the technical definition I've seen over and over again is you bounce back better, or you bounce back. And I don't necessarily love that. I subscribe to, if I get knocked down, if I lose my breath, if I get winded, if I'm tired, all of those things that happen just from being human in life, I want to acknowledge and take the time to rest, to assess, and then I get up and I grow. That is resilience to me. Resilience is not, I took it on chin and now I'm just going and I'm pretending like everything's fine. That's not it at all. I may cry for a whole week or 2 weeks, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to dust myself off, and then I'm going to come up with a plan, and I'm going to reflect, and I'm going to grow from that experience. That is what resilience means to me. I hope this episode gave you some tools to connect with and increase your resiliency. I'm proud of you. Let's keep up the momentum. Follow Resilient Life on your favorite podcast platform and on YouTube at Resilient Life Podcast. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others.